Hi everyone, you've landed at Aquascaping on the Fly Living Art Creations. I'm Anthony, your host and content creator. Here on my channel, I like to infuse my love of spirit and Mother Nature into every one of the builds I make, whether it's on the terrarium side or the aquascaping side. So feel free to inquire about how I use spirit in my guides through your comments, and I can go into further detail for you. And while we're on the subject of comments, we are now at 223 subscribers. So thank you for that. That's very exciting. The channel is just 6 months old. And one of the things I love about it is that the comments, I listen to all of them, I read all of them, and I answer all of them. And I love the positive, uplifting community that the channel has created that has caught me quite by surprise. Your outpour of love and generosity is amazing, and I do appreciate that. And I get that through every one of my comments. So if you feel compelled and you like the content we're making here, please consider subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything. It just says, hey, I like that. And leaving a comment is awesome. And also if you will do a like on the videos. For the algorithm, which for YouTube hasn't even gotten me anywhere near my audience yet, which is kind of funny because my channel is so new. When you get all three of those, I consider it the trifecta for the YouTube algorithm. And then it kind of helps push your videos out there to that larger audience that it's intended for when you're talking about aquascaping and terrariums. So that's just my shameless plug for the channel. Today, however, what we're going to talk about is I'm doing a retrospective series on the 5 tanks that we have up and running right now. So that includes Blackfish, which is a 20-gallon long, Tree of Life, another 20-gallon long, and then the Trinity series, which is a series of 3 tanks that are 10 gallons each. 3 individual tanks with different hardscapes, but they carry one theme across, one universal theme for all of them. And what we're going to do is we're going to delve into a lot to do about the shrimp that's in each tank and the challenges that I have faced with the shrimp. A couple of plant issues that did not work out very well. The addition of mystery shrimp and what to look out for when you're adding any type of shrimp to your tank setup. And then also we're going to talk about the houseplants that I have growing out of my tanks and what a difference I can see in my water quality because of my houseplants. And it's also going to delve into how old each setup is and the specifics, notes that I've taken that I think is going to be really important for you guys out there that are trying this on your own for the first time. Now remember, my channel is not one of those channels where there's any subscribers. I'm purchasing all of my materials on my own. I'm setting up tanks as a beginner because I have no experience in this. When I created my channel, it was out of drive and determination, and I believe it was spirit-led because I found it quite by accident. And when I found the first video, I was basically hooked immediately. And within just a few short weeks, I had created my own YouTube channel with no knowledge of how to do anything. I mean, basically that's it. And I felt driven to put out videos that show other beginners that don't have the finances to put into what a normal setup is going to cost you. So my tanks are low budget. They are no tech except for one little 3 or 5 watt pump that I use just to circulate water around because for me, I am a Cancer and Cancers love the sound of water. It's very therapeutic for us. And I like hearing the slow motion of the water in all the tanks around me because my studio is my living room. So when I'm in here, it's awesome. And that's also something I do want to touch on now in this intro. There's something that a lot of people don't really outwardly talk about is how therapeutic this hobby is. Considering the climate of the world in North America right now, specifically in the United States, as far as what's going on politically around us. There's so much uncertainty. It's nice to have something when you come home that your sanctuary is you can unplug from. And when unplug, I mean the television and your mobile device. Because, you know, when we have our mobile devices, we're connected to them 24/7. This is a hobby where it forces you to put that down and focus on the very simple things in life. And setting up a tank in your own home or office or wherever that's most important, your safety place is, it's great to have an aquarium set up and a terrarium set up. I get just as much joy out of watching my, oh my gosh, I just went blank, Desert Oasis fireplace terrarium. I'm allergic to smoke, so my fireplace here is useless. So I turned it into a terrarium and I call it Desert Oasis. The plants in there change daily, and I do mean that. They move around as much as they can, fighting for dominance on who's going to be the dominant plant and who's going to get the most sunlight that day. It is a trip to watch them. It's fascinating. So with the tanks, when you put it together yourself and you're deciding on your hardscape and your rocks and your gravel, I'm that channel where we go out into nature and we get inspired. And it's usually always a hardwood piece that I start with, that when I pick it up, I know immediately what I'm supposed to do with it, or I know immediately the name I'm going to call that tank. And that has been the rule of thumb for every single one of these builds I have started with. It has started with a walk in nature, and I have found something, I brought it home, I knew what to do with it, and it's just a matter of, okay, now where am I going to find my rocks? What kind of gravel am I going to use? So I have one tank where I got my rocks from a riverbed. I normally try to scavenge landscaping sites where I know they throw their trash away, because that's a gold mine for me. I can find rocks and dead shrubs and limbs and all kinds of stuff there. And then I just bring it home and I prep it. You know, you just have to really prep it really, really well to be able to put it into your aquarium. So therefore, I'm not spending any money on my hardscape or my rocks, and a lot of times my gravel. So my substrate and my tank. So the substrate, I do use an aqua soil substrate. My tanks, I get 50% off at PetSmart, and I wait until they have the additional 20% off coupon that's usually online. So I don't pay anywhere near what someone else is paying for their setup. So I'm not putting any extra equipment into it. And the lighting I use is very low budget, but I'm still using full spectrum grow lights. But I use the mini strips, and you'll see them on my video, that they're attached to the studio around it so that the light is coming down. I did have them attached right on the tanks, which is why I was using the, if you get your tanks from like PetSmart or Petco, and they've got the black little banding at the top and the bottom, I use that. I needed it in my setup on my studio because I have bolts that are holding the shelf up that 3 of my tanks are sitting on. If I didn't have the riser that's built into the tank, I wouldn't be able to put my tanks there because it would be a flat surface and the glass would be tilted. So I actually used the little black decorative piece that goes on there, and I use it on the ones on the top, and I attach my houseplants to it. So for me, it's very beneficial, and it doesn't bother my view. And matter of fact, I can hide my water line because the lip of that rim comes down into the tank. So if you always tap your water off, you'll always see water, and that's it. You won't necessarily see that corrosion line that you see on a lot of tanks unless you clean it really, really, really well. And I'm kind of lazy when it comes to that. I kind of like let my tanks go for a little bit. So I'm doing a natural planted tank, and I'm only using that little pump to circulate the water around, and that's it. So my builds, the most I've spent so far is just over $200. And when I say just over $200, I'm talking like $210. Most of my tanks are around $150, and that's all the plants I put in them. And I don't go cheap on my plants. I buy the plants I want. So if you're looking for a hobby where you can get into it and enjoy it, I've got shrimp only at this point. So when I do livestock, I will buy the ones that are a bargain price, and I will get the ones that will go in and cohabitate with other plants. I've already been doing research on the levels of the tank and what fish swim in what level. So if you're looking for a tank that has the full range of fish that are swimming in it, you need to do your research about who swims at the top, who swims at the bottom, and who swims in the middle section, so that when they're all going around doing their thing, that they're going to be happy in the different levels. And always remember that fish like to swim side to side, not up and down. So the tall tank is not as beneficial for your fish as a wider tank. It gives them more swimming room. So that's just like a little FYI. But so feel welcome to be in my channel, to come on board. I'd love to have your feedback. So right now I'm going to close this section out, and then I'm going to go use this same intro for every one of the tanks. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope you guys enjoy the videos. Okay, everyone, here you're looking at Bird on a Wire. Now, Bird on a Wire is a trilogy tank. The name of the trilogy is the Trinity series. Bird on the Wire is the tank that's on the extreme right. These are 3 tanks with one cohesive story, and there's an overall arc to how the hardscape in each tank talks to each other. And I'll cover that probably in the very last video that I do of the 3rd tank. So Bird on a Wire was set up on April the 23rd of 25 this year. It's been operating now for 77 days. It has the orange really shrimp. Originally, we had 8 introduced into the tank on June the 11th. On the next day, June the 12th, I found 1 dead. On the 15th, I found 2 dead. As of today, and for the last several days, I can only confirm that 3 are alive. So that meant that we've probably had the other dead ones, and they may have been completely eaten. I did find a very tiny end. No, that was in another tank. This one, I don't think I've found any dead, but they were extremely little. They were tiny little shrimp whenever they were delivered. And I want to zoom in just a little bit because they are, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to go that fast. They are hard to find sometimes, but I want you to see them. You see right there, right? You see the orange and the white. There they go. He's, oh, okay, too far. So this is the biofilm that has always been on Bird on a Wire. And the reason I call this Bird on a Wire is that it literally, there's a section down below that I'll zoom in on so I can show it to you. That, to me, it looks like a bird with, I put a plant behind it to make it look like feathers. So to me, it's a bird sitting on a wire. Now, I wrapped Bucephalandra leylina, which is wrapped with thread all along the hardscape in this one. And now I found this hardscape just like I find all my other hardscapes, completely intact. I never do anything to them. I don't break them. I don't know. They just go in and they look like they're supposed to look as far as the look I was going for. But there's something that's special about this one. And I'm going to zoom back out completely. I want to go up. Now you see above the tanks, I have my lighting and my branches with Spanish moss. But the limbs up here are for plants to climb onto eventually. You can see that this hardscape goes all the way to my ceiling. And it just fit perfectly. And it also makes contact with the branches that are already there. So what I'm getting to grow there right now, and we're kind of jumping out of order, but look at this. This is something I picked up on a layover. This is a wild growing pothos that was growing under some shrubs, and I just took like 2 leaves, a little 2-leaf section, and you can tell, look at this. Look at this beautiful root structure from this plant. Now, I think this tank has one of my clearest waters in it whatsoever. It is not affected by when I clean the insides of the tank off with the tannins like the other tanks are. I think it's because of the plants. Now, there is another plant right here. This is a speckled Hoya that is a vine, and it's growing, and it's started its aquatic roots. You can always tell the aquatic roots because they are white. Let me go back out. And so you can see how, okay, so I'm going to try and point it out. It may make sense. It may not make sense to you. Okay, this structure here, I thought was just absolutely gorgeous. It has bark on it. I love it. Here's the part that I thought that it was the bird when I first saw this stick out in nature. And then here's the tail feathers. And then that's why then the Bucephalonda takes off from here and goes all the way to the top. And it does reach the water at the very top. But down here, here's another boost that I just stuck in because I move plants around periodically. But this one, let's get back to so we're talking to snails today as well, as we're not just talking about our shrimp. But this one with the orange really, they are very animated. One of the interesting things is that I discovered within a few days after they being introduced was the fact that when they're on like this rock here, their exact coloring matches this rock. It is just the coolest thing ever. I never even thought something like that would happen. I thought it's just amazing. Now, the dwarf hairgrass that you see barely, and when I say barely, it's embarrassing because I have a whole video that's one of my most popular videos, got over 6,000 hits. And I grew out this dwarf hairgrass for months. I put it into this aqua soil. It's too loose. It does not make contact. It does not grow together. It's just completely dying out. So that's a negative for dwarf hairgrass. If you're wanting it to grow, you're going to have to put some type of a top layer over your aqua soil, or it's just going to roll. That soil rolls around like crazy. It just does. That's one of the downsides. You got to put something on top of it. And I haven't put sand or anything like that on top of it yet. Now, here's a reason why we don't have shrimp in here. The mystery, I'm not sure, snails. I keep messing it up today with the shrimp and the snails. The mystery snails, when they come through here, they dislodge this plant. Now this one, I'm going to pronounce it wrong. It's Spogostemon stellatus dacin. This is the mini, which grows to between 3 and 4 inches. And it has this beautiful coloring that I'm in love with. I put it in 2 tanks. And it, when the mystery snails go over it, they always dislodge it. And so I just finally got tired of fighting that. And so I pulled the snails out of this one. So that's one thing. I did have to add, because my dwarf hairgrass was not growing, and it was supposed to be a full carpet effect between the Rosa plant and this. It was supposed to be full of carpet. I did add this stem plant. Now, I'm not a fan of stems, but I love this one. This one is, oh, I'm sorry, I had these backwards. Okay, mess up, edit, take it out. Oh, well, we'll just leave it in there. Althernerdia Rosenberg Mini. This is the mini. This is the dacin right here. The dacin is the stem plant. So those of you who know your plants, you're like, child, you're getting that all wrong. And then I can't remember. This is Anubias golden. Leylina. I don't remember what this one is. This one has a different name. But these, like I've said, I dose my tanks weekly. This is growing really, really well. I've had a lot of problems with algae and black algae and cyanobacteria in the beginning. And it did kill out some plants, but I fortunately got that under control. I waited too long to put shrimp in my tanks. I was wanting to get things to grow out a little bit more before I added shrimp in because I was nervous about putting shrimp in. But I'm so glad now that I did it. I want you to see the lighting now because this is a little bit different than what I do than what you'll see on other channels. Okay, you see that strip right there? That is one thin micro strip that are connected with wires. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 10 of these all in this canopy above my tanks. Now, they have their own timer, an inline timer, which I love, and you can split it off into 2 lines. So I've got one line for the tanks below it, and I've got this line that goes up above. Now, I did have these on the tank themselves to where they were attached right here on the black rim, and I have self-sticking tape, and they pointed down like a 45-degree angle down. That's why I had cyanobacteria and blackbeard. The lighting was so close, and I even had it on one of the lowest settings. It was just still too bright to not have the outbreak. So I ended up and I had one on the front and one on the back. I mean, it was gloriously bright. I loved it because I could sit across the room and look at them. It was amazing. It was just too much light. So I took them off, and I just left them on the canopy above. And now it's so much easier to maintain the tanks now. It's not like the problem it was before. Now you can get this same kit on Amazon. I paid $45 for the timer and 6 of the micro strips. Now, and I've bought like 3 sets of these. I use them on the terrarium side, and I love them. I've got them in 3 different locations in my studio right here. I love the lighting, how it looks. It's balanced. It's full spectrum. It works for the plants and the tanks. And so I think it works really, really well. And it's an inexpensive option for lighting. And it's so versatile because you can add as many strips to it as you want. So that's the one thing that I love. Right now, it's on high, but it has 4 settings. I keep it at 50% and anywhere from 8 to 12 hours a day for it. And then of course, you will see, here's my little micro pump that's at the top here, and it's just a little 3-watt. So you can barely see, it's just moving a little bit of water around in the tank. I think the plants, I think, look really pretty. I mean, when you can see the roots of the ivy, the pothos, you can see them just swaying. I mean, and it's gorgeous. And the only thing I really have to do every once in a while, I have to like move all the roots out of the way and then clean it out because there's any debris from the plants get all tangled up in the roots. But the shrimp love the roots. No matter what roots are in there, the ones that are even the ones that haven't turned into aquatic roots yet, they love it. If you'll notice, I've got, I can't remember what this is. This is another vine-ish type plant right here. I forgot the name of it, but you see it's got roots that are coming out the top. It roots like every little section where you can just chop it up and keep planting it. I'm wanting it to vine up here as well. And if you'll notice, the pothos, look how it's naturally curving around the limb that's in there. I don't know how that's happening. That's just nature taking care of itself. It's not attaching itself to it. It's free flowing, and that part I love because I think it adds a lot of drama, but I'm telling you, the orange really love being inside there. The speckled Hoya, which is on this side, they love getting in those roots as well. So when I can't find them, if I shine a line up in there, I'll always see at least 1 or 2 in the leaves, the roots themselves, and then other times they're feeding on the biofilm on the stick itself. Now, yes, these rocks I foraged myself, and of course the limb I foraged myself, And I think this is a 10-gallon. Oh, look, there's one that decided to come out and swim. This one's one of the luckier tanks because the 3 that are in there now seem to get along very, very well. There's like no fighting. I've never seen them fighting or anything like that. But when I put this in there, this limb is exactly the size for this tank. It's wedged in at the top. There's like a little lip that comes off of it, like a part of the branch. I didn't break it. It just fit there. Literally, it's shoved into this end and it's held in place by the other one. So there's no moving this branch whatsoever. What else do we need to talk about? I think that is it for this one. I haven't done a water change in ages on this one just because I think it's because the roots do such a beautiful job. And here is a peek. I mean, if that is not, come on. It's like Pride Rock for fish. I think it is amazing. I love this. One of my favorite aspects is the fact that it was the first time I put Boost on something. This was the first tank. And I'm not good at gluing, so I decided to do the string around it. I'm seeing where some of them have already set out longer runners, but I don't see them attaching themselves to it. And the Nana Golden, it also has thread around it as well. And I left the part that touches the glass on the left, I left it completely, alone. Okay, you are getting a great treat by this dude just letting us sit here and film, because they don't do that. When I do like a little short, I mean, sometimes they'll sit for a second and then they just, jump on their way. But there you go. This little dude is just like showing off. So that's amazing. So for this tank also, my rock selection were some things that I forged while, you guys know, if you read my bio, I'm a flight attendant. And so sometimes I'll pick up rocks in different locations. When I'm on a layover, if I can't find plants to forage, this is one of those tanks. These are rocks from all over the United States, because I could only carry 1 or 2 in my luggage at a time because my luggage is already heavy enough as it is. But the hardscape always comes from where I am locally in Texas. But sometimes the rocks just depends on where I'm at and what I find. So I hope you guys enjoy this. This is a great example of how you can benefit in this tank, particularly from plants, the house plants growing, because you can tell the clarity of the water. I haven't cleaned the glass off. There's no snail in here doing the cleaning. There's only 3 little orange willies in here. They're not even eating all their biofilm. And when I put like in the next tank, I've got to clean out a strawberry from yesterday. They don't even go for the strawberry. They're not into it. The only ones that really go for the strawberry are the amanas. They love strawberries. But the other shrimps, they're just not into it. But I love how this one has the graceful roots that are coming through there, and from the speckled Hoya and from the pothos. And I'm looking for the other one to do the same thing, because my goal is to have my plants roots cover it, because we're going for that natural look. We're going for that natural planted tank. So hope you guys enjoy. Hang out for a little bit. I'll be producing the next video. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.